Podcast LaSalleOrg.
Welcome to this episode of the series Limited, Fragile, Free. Accepting our fragility helps us to step out of our comfort zones, out of our usual spaces of action. It can help us connect in a better way with the new generations to bring the good news and engage together in the mission. This episode is entitled Kiotsuke, Singlehearted, Unwavering, Purposeful.
Podcast LaSalleOrg.
Your podcast, our podcast.
Decide.
Jiu-Jitsu is they're always moving forward, going for the submission.
Should make for a great battle.
A dear friend recently got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the highest contact sport that blends grappling and strategic ground combat, with the ultimate goal of forcing your foe into submission. It may appear like one of those extreme sports, dependent on nothing but intimidation and brute force. But the real enigma of BJJ is its focus on leveraging one's physical capabilities, regardless of size or strength, and emphasizing the primacy of methods over muscle. Spectators are stunned as they witness how smaller, weaker individuals defend themselves against seemingly impregnable opponents. The adventure was a novelty, and this BJJ enthusiast must have been so exhilarated that he overexerted and pushed his body beyond its limits. He broke his shoulder, popped a rib, and even busted his knuckles at one point. He must have focused on chokes and locks to bring his opponent to submission and concentrated on the force of his throws and sweeps. Little did he realize that he required physical endurance needed to be partnered with the development of technical skills, a strong sense of discipline, and adaptation to new situations. The mishap was a blessing in disguise as the experience allowed him not only to test his determination and love for the sport, but also to learn the painful lessons of resilience and humility. But here's the kicker. It wasn't until he finally surrendered to the fragility of his body that he started to see real improvement in his gameplay. It taught him that vulnerability and self-care are vital. By admitting his weaknesses and giving his body a breather, he was embracing pain as part of the journey. He needed time and space to heal and recharge. After all, self-care isn't like joining a luxury cruise. It is about putting on a life jacket to keep oneself afloat. One builds character by drawing on one's inner strength that is developed only by navigating through the bumps and bruises along the way. That's pretty much what Trisha Ellick claimed in Full Metal Alchemist.
We may be weak, but we just have to be. If not, we wouldn't have any reason to grow and become strong. And in each step we take, we do become stronger.
Would priest and catechist make more sense to the young if they spoke about their favorite sports instead of preaching about dogma or high theology? Would students learn better if they were coached instead of lectured to? The World Youth Day celebrations are a great occasion to get on the mat and engage the young on their own terms and in their own time. With a never-give-up attitude, the good news must be preached in season and out of season. A crazy, cool sport may be the best way to walk with those who are described as belonging to the loneliest generation. It may be the only way to reach the hikikomori, those young Japanese who suffer from severe social withdrawal. It could be the golden key to grappling with the loneliness epidemic and connecting with Gen Zers, or maybe even generations Alpha and Beta. Even a heart emoji can match a warm hug or face-to-face encounter while constantly surrounded by people and being forever connected. Many miss out on real-life connections and are just dying to have a heart-to-heart talk. Maybe because he knew he had more than 50 million followers on social media, Pope Francis issued this friendly reminder on the use of social media and technology during Lent last liturgical year. Lent is a propitious time to resist temptations and to cultivate instead a more integral form of human communication made up of authentic encounters, face-to-face and in-person. Every jiu-jitsu match begins with the command, Kiotsuke. The call signals the start of the match and summons the players to gather all their energy for the win. It alerts the players to be forever cautious and vigilant, like the watchman who waits for the daybreak or dawn, or the hunter waiting patiently for its prey, or the beloved sitting quietly in joyful anticipation on the arrival of the people of his eye. It requires single-hearted attention and unwavering commitment, but also purposeful action. Do not be afraid. Gather your energy from within your fragile being. We're here for the win.
Thank you for listening. Every week we will have a new episode of Limited, Fragile, Free. Follow us and share LaSalleOrg Podcast. Your podcast, our podcast. See you soon. LaSalleOrg is a podcast produced by the Office of Information and Communication of the Institute of the Brothers
Of the Christian Schools.